Natural hormones via telemedicine. How does that work? That's your question, your one thing hormone question that we're going to answer today. I'm Dr. Kieran. Thank you so much for submitting your answers to the One Thing Hormone survey. If you didn't submit your questions yet, make sure to hit the link. It's somewhere on one of the pages wherever you're watching. Hey, Kelly. Please do go submit your question. I'm wanting to know what your one thing hormone questions are. What are the questions that you're wanting answered now so that you can lose the weight, regain your energy, feel sexy and confident, look amazing, and master midlife? Like, who wants that? I do. What? We all do, right? And we all deserve that. So just adjusting my tech here a little bit. iPad's a little wonky on for Instagram. All right, but we got it. We got it. I think we got it. Yeah. All right. So today I'm going to answer that question because it's an amazing question, because most people think, how many of you think, if I'm going to get natural hormones, I need to get it from my doctor for a $30 copay in my town. I need to drive, find parking, sit in a little paper gown with my butt hanging out in the breeze till they come in and decide to see me, right? That's what we're taught to think that we need to do to get natural hormones. But I had an interesting thing happen to me this past year that we've all been kind of on lockdown. So I did the Stop the Menopause Madness and Summit in November. A lot of you participated. If you did, give me a shout out in the comments. Definitely want to know. And it was amazing, right? And so then I had all these women reaching out to me from all over the world, not even the states in which I'm licensed, which is like 8 different states, but they were reaching out to me from Australia and Portugal and all these places. Like, I need help. I need help with my hormones. Who can I go to? And even in states in the US. And this is a common thing for those of us who do this type of medicine, because there aren't that many of us who do it. So once people find out you do it and they're like, I want that. I've never met a woman, an intelligent woman who, when she was educated about her body and the need for hormones, didn't say, I need that, right? We all need it. And people were saying, like, where do I go in this state? Where do I go in that state? And if you go in any hormone chat room, like in the Stop the Menopause Madness group, what's the main conversation? Who do you know in my town? Hey, Wendy, who do you know in my town? Oh, there we go. Okay, we're back. All right. So people are reaching out to me from everywhere. Where do I go, right? How many of you have had this dilemma? You're like, I heard it. I heard it on the Stop the Menopause Madness Summit. I hear it from all these people. I don't know where to go, right? So many people. So my cousin calls me after the summit. She attended the summit. She lives outside of DC. She's like, usually I talk to her every couple months, right? Nothing urgent. So all of a sudden I get this text. When are you free? I have to talk to you. So I'm thinking something happened to her or her father, who's my uncle. And she's like texting me, I need to talk to you. So I knew something was up. So I told her, I'll be free after 6. So after 6, I call her and I'm like, what's up? And she says, Kieran, I just came from the gynecologist and they told me that they think I'm in menopause. And they told me if I don't do something about my hormones, that my stuff could cave in. Is that true? And I'm not laughing at her, but I can't tell you how many of us, maybe you've experienced this, right? Your doctor tells you you're in menopause and then tells you all the horrible things that are going to happen to you. At least her doctor knew that she needed hormones, but he wanted to prescribe her like horse estrogen, which she knew, because she knew me long enough, that wasn't good. So I calmed down, Nikki. Yes, your vagina can cave in, right? It actually will shrink down and it can go away. I once had a patient who was 104 and she had like no hole, because that's what happens when those tissues don't have the hormones to stimulate them. So they shrink down and then there's nothing there. So that's kind of caving in, right? So I calmed her down. Calm down, Nikki. It's okay. I got you. So I said, we need to check your hormone levels. So I had sent to her the kit. But actually, first I said, let me find someone in your area, because I'm not licensed in your area, who can help you. And I did all kinds of research, and they were either crazy expensive, crazy months wait list, or flaky. How many of you have experienced this? And so finally I said, okay, Nikki, she said it was miserable. She couldn't sleep. She was having all these problems. I said, okay, I'll prescribe for you this one time, but then we got to get you the right stuff. So I at least had her get the kit to do the test, to hey, Carmen, to get her levels checked, so I knew what to give her. So we did that. And in the meanwhile, I'm trying to find someone. Well, I finally found actually someone in a few months that I thought would be good, and I connected them. So I said, great, you're taken care of. You know, I'm not licensed in that state. And then she called me up like a month later and said, you know, that doctor's not, she's very flaky. She doesn't show up. I can't get her contact with her. So this isn't going to work. How many of you experienced that? And so meanwhile, all the people from the Stop the Menopause Madness Summit were reaching out, all the people online, people from all over the country. And my colleagues, I have lots of colleagues who are doctors who do coaching programs online. I got health coaches that I interact and network with, and they're like, we need telemedicine for women's hormones, for natural women's hormones. And I'm like, yeah, we need a telemedicine company for natural women's hormones, right? Meanwhile, I got almost 30 years in this industry with women's health. I've got over 10 years with holistic women's health, natural health, bioidentical hormones. And for whatever reason, I started doing some telemedicine a few years ago. I don't know why. I just started doing it. I was traveling a lot, and I really wasn't wanting to be in an office. And so I just started doing it. It's kind of a free thing that you travel around and you can do telemedicine. And so I got a lot of experience with a lot of different companies. And some days I would ask myself, wow, you know, I have all this experience. Why am I just doing telemedicine? Well, all of a sudden one day, as I'm like, we need a telemedicine company, I felt this almost like a tap on my shoulder. Do you ever get that when you're complaining about a problem, and then all of a sudden it was almost like a little imperceptible tap? And I literally turned like this, because I knew there was no one behind me, but I felt this tap. And so I turned, and what I heard was, you're the one to create the telemedicine company. And I went like, what? Yes. That's why you did all the telemedicine and had all the things, because yes, women need this, and you are the one to create it. And I knew it was the truth, right? Like, how often do you get those messages from the divine? You know, when I pray, I always say, God, give me a billboard and let me know it's from you. Make it so obvious. And that was undeniable, a tap. And I had this knowing, oh, Mitzi, you're so sweet. So grateful for that tap on your shoulder that said, go ahead and do it. Hey, from San Diego, make sure to register if you're on StreamYard, because then I can see your name. And hey, ladies over here, I see Anna, how are you? And so I got that tap, and I heard that, and I was like, wow. That's why I did all that telemedicine. That's why I had to do all the things I had to do, because the time has come and women need this. Because doctors in your neighborhood have not been trained in it. It's not their fault. They're taught in what they're taught. That's how I practiced for years. And, you know, when you know better, you do better, Oprah says. And so I knew better, and I was given these experiences to create the telemedicine. So I launched in January the telemedicine company. The original name was My Telehormone MD, and it's right now only available to people in the Hormone Balance Mastermind. So if you want this, you got to get in the Mastermind, which we're thinking about launching again for this summer. And if you're thinking that could be helpful, definitely fill out the One Thing Hormone survey and let us know your hormone questions and what the course would have to have in it to be awesome for you. The link is on whatever page you're watching on. Just look at other posts, you'll see it. I think it's http://bit.ly/ONE hormone, one hormone. That's what it is. So definitely go there, and then you'll be one of the first to be notified. So it started out as My Telehormone MD. No, you don't have to be in menopause, Nicole. It's for anyone starting with perimenopause, which is 35, 40. But we have a couple baby bears in there who are younger. Actually, their moms wanted them to do it because they have crazy messed up hormones. I think our youngest person is 30, but no, you don't have to be. So it's Hormone Balance Mastermind. You got hormone problems, we got answers. So it was My Telehormone MD, but now we're changing the name to the Hormone Club, which is awesome. And so as part of the Mastermind, I teach you about all your hormones, those 7 major hormones that I always talk about. We kind of went through them the past couple days. And they're your metabolic drivers. They're your communicators. They tell all your cells how to do, what to do, when to do, how much to do, whether to burn calories or not. Right? So whether you lose weight or not, whether you have energy or not. And so in that program, it's available in all states except New York, New Jersey, and Rhode Island. I'm sorry. So not available in New York, New Jersey, and Rhode Island because they have some very particular laws in those states around healthcare. So yes, Nicole, 51 and just had thyroid removal. This is the place for you, definitely. So, Christina in San Diego. Hey, how are you? Give me a shout out here, ladies, over on Instagram. Love to see who's here. Dana, Jana, a bunch of you. So good to see you. So just not those 3 states. And basically you are sent an email with a requisition to get blood drawn at usually a Quest center near you. And so you get your blood drawn. That's not for the hormones though. It's for the thyroid hormones, right? And I teach you about that in the program. But the sex hormones have to be done. We do the Dutch test, right? And we do the Plus test that has the salivary cortisol, so you know what's going on with your stress hormone. So you do all of that, and then the doctors get the results, and you do a telemedicine consult. So like you do Zoom consult, like a Zoom class with one-on-one, that's what it's like. And you talk to the doctor, they go over your symptoms, they go over your labs, and then if you're a candidate for natural thyroid replacement or bioidenticals, then they will prescribe for you. They send the prescription to the pharmacy. We use Innovation Compounding outside of Atlanta, which is one of the highest volume, most efficient, well-run pharmacies for bioidenticals in the country. I've used them for over a decade, and they ship to you within a couple of days. And so you get your hormones. And then in the rest of the Mastermind, I teach you about all your other hormones and all the secret state you need to be in for all weight loss and healing that you don't even know about, because I promise you your doctor never talked to you about this, and most of your friends don't know about it. And so we talk about all of that and teach you about all your hormones and how you balance them. But that's how the telemedicine works. And it's pretty amazing. Let's see, Mitzi's over here. She's in the program. So if you have anything to say about it, Mitzi, please post your comment and I'll share that with everybody. Hi, Jana. How are you? So good to see you. So that is the story of the creation of the telemedicine. And that's basically how it works. It's super efficient. You don't have to take time off from work. You don't have to drive through traffic in your town, like in Atlanta. You might be driving for an hour to get to a doctor's appointment in the middle of the day, sometimes 2. No driving in traffic, no taking time off from work, no driving around around trying to find a place to park. No sitting in the waiting room reading 5-year-old magazines, or even magazines so old that you're learning about Joni and Chachi. Like, who remembers Joni and Chachi, right? Like, no old magazines. And then when you go into the exam room, you're not sitting in a little paper gown with your butt hanging out. So none of that. You just go in your living room and turn on your computer and you meet with the doctor. Like, how amazing is that? Jana says, 40 years old, just had labs done, low estrogen, low progesterone, high cortisol. Oh, I'm so sorry. So this is good. I always say that knowledge and information are power. So don't let the knowledge itself derail you. So ignorance is not bliss when it comes to your hormones. What you don't know will kill you or make you want to die because you'll feel so terrible and you'll be racking your brain like, what is wrong with me? And your doctor will be telling you there's nothing wrong with you. It's normal for your age. How many of you have heard that? So this is power. So definitely get the help you need to get everything balanced. Mitzi says, well, wait, hold on. We got Facebook user. What's the difference between bioidentical hormone, FDA approved, covered by my insurance, and the ones compounded? So many worries about its cardio, clot, stroke risk. So this is the thing. And if you saw the Stop the Menopause Madness Summit, you're welcome, Jana. If you saw this summit, we had so many experts on hormones. And if you saw Dr. Lindsay Bergson's lecture, she talked about why you shouldn't be afraid of estrogen. You should go running to it. And you can still get access to the summit at stopthemenopausemadness.com if you want to. I'm going to sum it up in this one sentence because this is the truth about estrogen. If estrogen caused health problems, cancer, clots, strokes, the women with the highest estrogen levels would have those health problems, wouldn't they? Well, who has the highest estrogen levels? 20-year-old women. Do they get breast cancer, clots, and strokes? No, they do not. Why? Because it is not estrogen that causes those problems. It's the imbalance between the hormones, particularly estrogen and progesterone. When you have too much estrogen and not enough progesterone, the balance is off. And it's inflammation. So that is, I love a conspiracy theory. Do you guys love a conspiracy theory? I know now with, the opening of everything, I don't even want to say the word because then they ban your video on Facebook. But you know what we've all been through this past, 15 months. And there were conspiracy theories at the beginning, and now they're coming back and they're saying, wait a minute, we need to do an investigation. There might be a conspiracy here. So I love a good conspiracy theory. And, even in healthcare, there are a lot of overt, let me just say, modes of exploitation. So healthcare is about disease management. Pharmaceutical companies only get paid to make drugs. The longer they can keep you on that drug, then the more profit they make, the more profitable they are, their shareholders are happy. And so they are incentivized to make drugs that don't cure you, but maintain your disease at a low level so you can take the drug longer. I'm just saying that's the truth. And they've actually had the guidelines for cholesterol changed so that more people will qualify to take statin medications for a longer period of time. If you don't believe me, there's a book called The Great American Cholesterol Hoax you might want to read. Cancer drugs, extremely expensive. Why? They can only give them to you for a short period of time because if it's not the cancer that kills you, it's the drugs that's going to kill you. Extremely expensive. So anyway, pharmaceuticals for-profit industry, the health insurance company is not about keeping you healthy. They're about making money. So the whole system is set up to keep you sick. In case you didn't realize that, I hope I'm not the first one to tell you that, but it just is true. So with the bioidentical hormones, I've racked my brain as to what possible advantage the healthcare system could have by scaring women into believing that sex hormone replacement is unhealthy. And I don't think it's so much that as that if they say that bioidenticals are healthy and they admit that, nobody can get a patent on those medications because they're naturally occurring substances. And so they don't want to come out and say, oh, yeah, because the pharmaceutical industry funds the healthcare industry. So even a lot of our journals and research. So they're not going to do research studies. First off, no one's going to pay for it on the bioidenticals because they can't get a patent on it to recoup the billions of dollars that it costs to do it. But the truth is, it's no different than if you're potassium deficient, that you replace your potassium. If you are calcium deficient, you replace the natural calcium your body has with calcium. If you are estradiol or estriol deficient, two of the good types of estrogen, you replace those hormones. Optimally healthy people have plenty of sodium, potassium, calcium, vitamin B2, estradiol, estriol, progesterone, testosterone. When you replace these to high levels, these have been in use since the 1950s worldwide, have been used in Europe. They are very safe and very effective. So this whole idea to scare you, I mean, honestly, it keeps women down. And, Dalai Lama is quoted as saying that the Western woman will save the world. And I think it's menopausal Western women on natural hormone replacement, because when you have more of these sex hormone receptors in your brain than you do anywhere else. What does that tell you? It's about how you think and about your mood. When you don't have a good level of hormones, what happens? I've been there. You feel like crap. You don't feel like yourself. You're irritable. You're depressed. You're anxious. You can't think clearly. You can't remember. You can't focus. You feel like crap. Well, this is what we have programmed for us women starting between 40, 45, 50, somewhere in there it starts. And then if we don't feel good, well, then we don't live our lives on purpose. So I'm just going off on a tangent, but that's just my opinion. Okay. So the difference between bioidentical hormone, FDA approved, bioidenticals are FDA approved. You're not taking anything not approved. So I don't know where you got that impression. You can't take a medication in our country without being FDA approved. So, all right. Mitzi says, seriously, ladies, it's one of the best investments you'll make in the future. My hair was falling out, no energy, fibroids, and within 2 months, I started seeing positive changes that I knew she was the real deal. Thank you so much, Mitzi. I really appreciate that. So wonderful to know you and work with you. I tell you what, in my programs are the most incredible women you will ever meet. I don't know. I must be doing something right because like Mitzi is in it. She's amazing. It's just the most incredible group of women that I'm so blessed to be able to work with. So please be that if you're going to come join us. Amy says, this is so desperately needed. I had to fight with my gynecologist to get bioidentical estrogen after a hysterectomy for fibroids and endometrial cancer. I finally managed to convince her, but still don't have the levels that I think I really need. We should not have to fight for what is rightfully ours. It's so insane. I mean, more than anything in healthcare, we women are kept down and disenfranchised by not having our hormones. Hormones are the communicators in your body. Look at any system, right? A city is a system. You have to have communication for the city to run efficiently, right? Open roads, open phone lines, all the things. Not having hormones is like cutting off the phone lines in a city and expecting the city and closing all the roads, right? Roadblocks everywhere, like when they have a parade, and expecting the city to function normally. What? Like, is that going to happen? No. That's what expecting your body to function optimally without hormones is like. Oh, I'm just going to go through perimenopause and menopause, and I lose my estrogen and my progesterone and my testosterone, and then all my communication is gone, but I'm supposed to function at this level. It's not going to happen. What happens? You gain weight, you lose your energy, you have no sex drive, you lose your hair, dry skin, nails, wrinkles, cognition, decreased focus, moody, irritable, right? You know what I'm talking about. So I'm sorry, Amy, that you had to go through that. So you got her, and I hope she gave you progesterone too, and testosterone. Pray. That's the other thing that, mainstream medicine gets so wrong. They're like, oh, well, if you don't have a uterus, you don't need progesterone, which is a lie. And they almost never check your testosterone the proper way and replace it. If you don't have testosterone, the lights will forever be off. Testosterone, we have it just like men. We just have a tenth of what they have. That's really what turns the lights on. That stimulates your dopamine neurotransmitter. Dopamine is your drive. Get up and go and do neurotransmitter. Most women, when they have low testosterone, don't have enough dopamine. They have no initiative. They don't have any mojo. You got to have your mojo, plus the sex drive, plus your muscle mass is directly related to your testosterone levels and your bone mass. And both of those are directly related to your weight. And whether you gain weight or not, are able to lose weight. And this is why men can lose weight like that, because they have all that testosterone. Well, here you are, a menopausal woman, you only got this much testosterone already, and then you don't have enough, and your doctor doesn't replace it? Like, what hope do you have of losing weight is what I want to know. None, really. You've got to get it up there. So, Amy, fight for your hormones. Amy says, very concerned about the possibility of the government banning bioidentical hormones. Yes, this is a serious possibility, ladies, and they have tried, and the pharmaceutical companies are behind that. And they keep trying to go and put legislation and fund legislation to ban bioidenticals. There have been petitions circulated, and we've managed to stave off this. I will go to Congress and testify for sure. So yes, you need to be proactive. Mitzi says, I can see that will age with much more ease than my elder women in my life whose bones, muscles, joints, and minds are deteriorating at incredible rates. It's hard to watch. I want my mom to get her Dutch test soon. Absolutely. Yes, it's sad if you really look around and you see the discrepancy between women at midlife and beyond who have their hormones and women at midlife and beyond who don't. It's like the difference between driving through like North Philly. I lived in Philly when I went to medical school. You drive through North Philly and all the buildings are burnt out and there are homeless people everywhere. And the difference between driving through there and the main line, like I went to school at Bryn Mawr on the main line where all these multi-million-dollar houses, that's the difference. But think about the friends think about the celebrities and where they are with their health. I always say like J-Lo and Shakira at the Super Bowl, pretty amazing, right? Shakira in her 40s, J-Lo in her 50s, amazing. I promise you they're dealing with their hormones. Promise you. They could not look like that and be functioning at the level that they function and be the bosses that they are if they didn't do that. And then pick two friends one who's in her 50s and one who's in her 40s who has the exact opposite. What's the difference? I promise you those friends are not dealing with their hormones and getting them optimized. All right, Christina Zuvi, hi. I need replacement at 46 years old for brain fog, night sweats, low libido. I watched the summit and actively researching the best option for me. Yes, brain fog, night sweats, low libido. Like, you name any symptom you have regarding your health right now at midlife, it is related to your hormones. I know your doctor doesn't tell you that. They only recognize 2 symptoms of hormone imbalance at midlife: vaginal dryness and hot flashes. That's it. The list, you have receptors for these hormones in every cell in your body because they stimulate every cell in your body. It's not just about sex. So yes, Christina, definitely. I don't know if you're in the States or not, but we're thinking about relaunching the Hormone Balance Mastermind this summer. If that's something you might be interested in, please go to the One Thing hormone survey. The link is on whatever page you're watching on, and let us know, would you be interested in that? What would it have to have for you to be like, oh my God, this is the best program ever? So let us know. If we can help you, we will. The hormone therapies from naturopathic doctors, compounded ones, are not FDA approved. However, they offer the customized dose. Yeah, they are FDA. There are no drugs available by prescription that are not FDA approved. So yes, they are FDA approved. Let's be clear about that. A Dutch test is a dried urine test that looks at urinary metabolites, which is the best test. So we talked about this either yesterday or the day before on the Daily Live. We talked about the different ways to check your sex hormones: blood, saliva, and dried urine. And we talked about why blood is notoriously inaccurate, why, let me plug in this iPad before she goes to sleep, why blood is notoriously inaccurate, why saliva can be inaccurate, and why dried urine testing is the most accurate. So definitely go check that out. And I talk about what the Dutch is and how you do it, Christina. I just defined you right there, Christina. I got you, right? Like, I mean, I am my own client. I was my own client before I started working with other women because, you know, at 243 pounds with fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue and all the things, and here I'm board certified OBGYN, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I literally thought, am I crazy? All my tests are normal. What's wrong with me? And my doctor was like mad at me. She says, stop, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with your health. I was like, clearly, look at me. I'm obese. There's something wrong. And I, you know, I had to find this way. And then when I found it, I made that commitment that day. I was like, oh my gosh, I found the answer. I'm going to use this on myself to help myself get better. And if it works, I'm going to tell every woman I meet who could benefit from this about this. And so that was like 13 years ago now, 2008, right? So that's what happened. Hey, Christy. Hey, Cynthia. Good to see you guys. So that is what happened. Yes, you are so welcome. All right. Well, I apologize for being a little late today. I will be on time tomorrow at 1 o'clock, but I really want to know your one question. What's the thing you really want to know about hormones? That's how we got the topic for today's class, and I think it was an awesome question. I love sharing that with you because, you know, this is how innovation happens: is we recognize a need and then we move towards it to support it. Another need I've recognized, and thank you for bringing that up, I think it was Christina. So I really want to create a foundation to empower women with hormonal literacy, because if we're not hormonally literate, then we're not empowered, we're disempowered. And to educate all women about the precarious approval of bioidentical hormones at this point, and really get some legislation in there to empower us. You know, just on a side note, we're also doing the gut rehab and detox, and Mitzi's in that program now, which we do after the Hormone Balance Mastermind. And so in doing research for that, one of the things that I'm educating them on is things like toiletries, cosmetics, how to protect yourself, what are the ingredients in there that are not good. And do you know that there's been no new legislation? This is what I discovered. No new legislation passed about contaminants that are harmful in those products since 1938. That's almost 100 years, y'all. And all the toxins that go into those products, when you see it, you will be appalled. And it's not that legislation hasn't been introduced. There actually have been some female senators who introduced legislation back in 2015 to get those chemicals removed from makeup and toiletries and cosmetics. And it's never passed. And they've reintroduced it multiple times since 2015, and it has never passed. Why? Because the government they don't want to go against industry, and industry is making beaucoup money. And if they have to take some of these products out, then they're afraid it's going to hit their bottom line. So the politicians won't pass these laws. So anyway, all this to say, if you think that your government has your best interest at heart, think again is something you might want to say. Toothpaste. Yes, Mitzi says toothpaste. I'm convinced I need hormone replacement. To me, it's a matter to choose compounded forms or Climera and progestin. Education is key. Yeah. So it's not that some of the pharmaceutical standard ones are bad. Some of them are bad. Okay. You do not want Premarin. I'm sorry. You just don't. And you do not want medroxyprogesterone acetate. But even Dr. Berkson in her lecture said, if you can't get anything, that's better than nothing. And, Climera and progestin or the 1 year progestrim you're talking about would be better. But it's kind of like saying, okay, I can't get calcium to replace my calcium, so I'm going to grind up cow bones and I'm going to eat that and extract the calcium from it. I don't know if that makes sense. But really what you want is your own natural hormones, the way God gave them to you, at the optimal levels. And see, the problem is mainstream medicine is they might give you an estradiol patch, but they're not checking your other estriol, your other estrogen that's necessary that helps prevent breast cancer. And they're not doing it the right way. They're doing blood work. So they're not doing dried urine testing. So they're doing the wrong test and reading it the wrong way, or they don't test at all. They just guess and they go, here, take this. And then you're supposed to have a one size fits all for all millions of women. But the truth is, if you don't test and get your level up high, like your vitamin D, right? Hopefully your doctor's checking your vitamin D level. That needs to be in the optimal range, 60 to 80 or even 100, right? You've got to test, don't guess. And that's not what mainstream medicine does when it comes to women's hormones. Most doctors, if you ask them, will you check my hormones? They're like, we don't do that. That's what I was taught. We don't do that. Or I had one person come recently and she typed in the chat that her doctor argued with her, but then said, okay, I'll do it, and drew them and then looked at them and said, they're fine. You're fine. And she's like, clearly I'm not fine. And then she told me what some of the values were. And I was like, yeah, you're not fine, because we're not taught how to read it. It's not their fault. Don't blame them. Okay. They're doing the best. But until you hit the wall, like I hit the wall, you don't have a reason to be open-minded to learn something new. So, all right, Christina said that's so true. Thank you guys for joining me. I will see you tomorrow at 1 Eastern. Sorry about being late. I really appreciate the questions. I'm dying to know what other questions you have. And if you're thinking the mastermind could be something that would help you, please go fill out that survey. It's http://bit.ly/ONEHORMONE, one hormone. And we don't ask your email, we don't ask your name, nothing. Just put your question there and let us know if you think the mastermind could be helpful. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.